Now, Brendan Tobin is on the Toyota of Hollywood hotline, but that's kind of weird because he works here. He hosts a show, but he is calling in, and so technically it's the Toyota of Hollywood hotline. Brendan Tobin, you hear him middays here on 560 WQAM. He was boots on the ground for the Pat Riley press conference. Hello, Tobin.
Hello, Hockman.
All right. Tell us what you came away with overall, because we didn't see, there was no stream, there was no live audio, so we're only going by your tweets and Barry Jackson and Will Manso. So, like your overall takeaway, was Riley pissed the way that he was after the LeBron, when he knew LeBron was leaving? Was he, I don't know, understandably disappointed with a quick exit from a roster that he thinks is pretty decent if they were healthy? Like, what was the overall tenor?
I definitely think there was a level of pissedness from him. The big topic obviously was going to be Jimmy Butler and what are they going to do with his contract. And I think he was pretty honest. He's like, he didn't say yes to the idea of giving him an extension. He was kind of like, we'll talk about it. But but it sounded very much like, yeah, he's got a lot to show us, because the first thing when it was brought up, he goes, well, we don't have to decide that now. We have a year. So I definitely think there's a little of level of frustration with Jimmy Butler, particularly missing games. I mean, that was probably the biggest theme of it. He opened his press conference talking about it, that there's too many missed games. There's not enough continuity. This is the guy who has the hardest working, best conditioned mantra on their court as their creed here. And I think that he's kind of fed up with it. And, the interesting part was he was asked by Ira about, a conversation about Jimmy being more available. And he revealed, well, we had that talk last year with his agent. So, I do think there's a level of frustration with the amount of games Jimmy's missing. And then the idea that he wants another extension on top of that. I don't know if they're seeing eye to eye.
Tobin, do you think, like we were talking about earlier, like just run it back? Like, I don't think we're at that level just to run it back with Jimmy, Tyler, Bam. Like, did you feel that from Pat? Like, we have to do something?
Yeah, I definitely felt like, I definitely feel like he talked a lot about deep dives and they got to look into stuff. And, for them to do that again, Crowder, to run basically the same roster and hope, hey, Terry Rozier and Tyler Hero are going to be healthy this year. Like, I just don't see that being a possibility for them if they really feel like, they're going to have some success. I asked him at the press conference, which, definitely piqued my, wasn't the response I thought I was going to get, but he, I was asking him about the idea of Jimmy, saying this week, well, if I played, Boston and New York would have been home. So I asked him, I said, do you feel like if you had your guys, that would have been the case, or do you feel like the gulf is there? And before he said the money quote about Jimmy, he had talked about the moves that Brad Stevens had made and the tooling had, and said that they're the best team in the NBA this year. So I think that, they're going to probably take a note off of that. They got to make moves to get better. But then him also telling Jimmy Butler, like, if you're not in a series or you're not on the court against those guys, you should probably keep your mouth shut.
But when he said that, Tobin, that's what I wanted to ask you. When he said that, like, it's kind of left up for interpretation the way it comes out of his mouth when we're reading it on social media. I mean, when he said that, was there like a chuckle, or was he just being flat out like, hey, Jimmy Butler should shut his mouth?
No, I don't think there was. I think it really bothered him that he saw that this week, because I think against the line, I think the big issue is I think they're fed up with the games that he's playing, and so this idea that, oh, hypothetically, you would have to save us in a game that you weren't a part of. No, I think he was genuinely. He said that. He goes. I'm asking myself when I see these quotes from him or this video from him, is he trolling or is that Jimmy serious? And I think that you think if that's serious, like if you're not on the court, you should keep your mouth shut. So no, I didn't think he was joking about that.
He was kind of throwing bows all over the place, right? Didn't he kind of tell Udonis to keep his mouth shut on ESPN?
That I thought he was joking a little bit more for, because I don't think you would ever tell Udonis seriously to shut up.
I hope not.
So he definitely said that was. I definitely thought that was more tongue in cheek than the Jimmy Butler stuff. But yeah, I think it's joking, but I think he also is like, man, listen. I think we all know if Udonis wanted to do media, he'd be a media star. But you also can't be, the vice president of player development. You can't be there at practice. and then, go up against the message that we have during the, when we're all saying this one thing, because Spo is the guy who's supposed to be, the voice of everything they do. And, that if he is fast, like if I had a press conference every week, we'd have a controversy every week because me and Spo argue a lot, but he's got to realize he works for the Heat. So I thought that was definitely more lighthearted than the Jimmy Butler stuff today.
Tobin isn't he's my friend, but isn't he right though? Like I think he's a six man. That's what he is a six man, right?
Oh yeah, listen, I think Udonis's point isn't unfair, and I tell you, if it's Udonis, he's probably told Tyler this. Like this isn't something that he's keeping from Tyler Hero. But I think that for the Heat, they like to keep things very buttoned up. They like to be in unison on things. They're not he says this, and so I think that's probably why it gets out there like that. But I think for Udonis, he'll probably be a little bit more close to us. I don't know if that's going to be great for his ESPN career, but if he's going to stick with the organization like that, I definitely think it'll be less likely we hear stuff like that.
How about Udonis and Crowder and all Florida Gators just keep their mouths shut? Are we all in agreement on that?
How about you ride the Davy and tell me to my face?
I mean, look.
Did I say that or think that? Did I say that or that came out loud?
I would never tell Crowder to keep his mouth shut. I would tell him to wonder about that tooth, man. That's a he just keeps like blasting out. It's dropping out. Man. Like, did you get a refund?
Tobin, I went and got it cemented back in Friday morning. I'm good to go now, bro.
Tell you what, that Crowder powder will eat through anything, even enamel, Tobin. So make sure you put it on all. If you're cooking up some marrow, look out.
Hey, Tobin, they do me bad, don't they? They slow it down. They do me bad when that tooth flies out.
Brendan Tobin is with us. He was at the press. He was at the Pat Riley press conference. Go ahead, Solono.
No, yeah. He was at the press.
He was at the Pat Riley press conference. One of the other things I said he was throwing bows. He called Tyler Hero fragile. I thought that was an interesting term. As Crowder said, that's not usually an adjective you want to hear about yourself if you're a professional athlete.
Not at all.
What did you take away from his overall comments about Tyler Hero?
I think that that was one of those that he probably thought damn, I probably shouldn't have said that because I think they're kind of keeping their options open with what is going to be the future of Tyler Hero. I think there's a lot of respect in this organization for how hard Tyler works. I think just because he wears weird outfits, people think that he's just rolling out of bed and showing up to the court. Like the guy does work very hard, but yeah, if you're going to have an entire press conference and you're going to talk about durability and missing games, and this guy's missed the last postseason and now missed half of this season, it's impossible not to put that label on him because it can't just be a Jimmy thing. It was definitely a point. Now, he did also say that he was a star. I don't know if those things quite align. That was kind of a damage is done comment to me when you're trying to mop up and say, hey, let's keep this asset good. But it's the truth. He has dealt with a bevy of injuries that they haven't, been able to get a wrap on. Some of them have been fluky. Some of them, just been unlucky. But whatever it has always seemed like he's missing a big chunk at critical times.
When he says, that they don't need big changes, it's not about getting another star. If you get another star, your bench gets weaker. And then I think it was Barry Jackson that asked him about, the changes you said, not the kind of changes you're suggesting. We want to try to control some things that we lost control of. But then he follows it up by saying, but my ears are always open. I mean, do we read through the tea leaves there? Is he saying, yeah, we need another star, and he just didn't want to flat out say it? Or do you actually think Pat Riley feels like with Jimmy and Bam, Tyler, and maybe Terry Rozier, they can make some things happen if they can get the right pieces around them?
I think that they really want their socks to be knocked off if it happens, because he did mention, there's 6 out of the 8 teams that were in the tax this year are all home. That only Boston and Denver are in the playoffs currently. So I do think that if they're going to make a seismic move, it has to be a move that boom, this is definitely going to put us in contention once again. This is going to catch us up to Boston. So I think he's definitely always going to keep his ears open on that stuff. I don't think that they're going to run it back. I think that's kind of crazy talk. He said some nice things about Nico and Jaime. I don't know if that's, genuine or if that's just, talking up, assets as he likes to do. But I think, for Pat, I think they have to look at this now. If you wanted to play conspiracy, Solana, he did start off his press conference talking about a story where LeBron was in his office talking about retooling once again. And, after the 11 finals, and that him and LeBron didn't even say a word. Interesting that you would just mention that story with LeBron when he's coming up on a certain time. And, your other star is maybe you're not seeing eye to eye with. So if you wanted to play conspiracy theory, we could connect some dots because the man doesn't say anything by accident, does he?
When's the last time he brought up LeBron in a State of the Heat address? I'd probably take a gander. It's been a couple years, Tobin, maybe 8-9 years.
Gander.
I don't know if you take a gander.
I took a gander there. I took a gander.
Also, earlier, I didn't want to point it out, but you said read through the tea leaves. You just read the tea leaves. You don't read through them.
All right, Tobin, you're from the press. Let's hear it.
You just see tea if you read through them.
Right. You don't read. Right. You read the tea leaves. You figure out what he's really trying to say. You don't read.
Why are you ruining this? I mean, he just lobbed up a little LeBron conspiracy. Why are you ruining this, Hawk?
Because it's ridiculous. But go ahead. Expound on that, Tobin.
Take a gander.
I'm just saying.
Expound on that and make a whale noise, will you? There's only one reason we had you on.
Oh, okay. I mean, I'm just saying, guys. You bring up LeBron, making us think about Jimmy Butler. It's all there.
Let's go Heat! Let's go Heat! Let's go Heat!
Now do Marlins Macho Man. What the hell? Let's get it all.
No, they're not worth it. They're not worth it.
I love Macho Man.
Catch an iguana and put it on Instagram, will you? Like,
what's the last bit is what? Just making Leroy mad?
Yeah, we're just doing all of Tobin's greatest hits.
Tobin. Leroy catches me at Publix sometimes. Goodness gracious. That dude can talk.
Because when you're doing the show with him, Tobin, it's not like you can just walk to the deli aisle to get away. You're just kind of there with him.
My favorite thing is when we're just walking in public places and he just starts making takes that are loud, but not takes about sports, like takes about life. But he's hoping that people around him will also like get in on the conversation. Like,
right,
man, so what are those things? It was the trains and airports. He goes, that's the best method of transportation. And then somebody goes, I know, right? That makes his day.
So, because you guys were just in Vegas, so he walks down the strip or through a casino, and he's very loud because he wants to have discussions about hot takes with people, anybody, right?
But of life, yeah. Like he's just like, he goes, inflation, not really a thing. They're all just screwing us intentionally. And some guy like Bob from Wyoming is like, I tell you, they're really screwing us. And he's like, oh, God, made his day. Him and Bob are going to be at the pie gout table for the rest of the afternoon.
I talked for 30 minutes about why they have sliced watermelon and cube watermelon with them. And I was like, this is Leroy, I don't know why.
And you came away not believing we ever landed on the moon, which was really wild.
Like, what are we talking about?
All right. So what, Tobin, on the way out here, what would you characterize Pat Riley's end of season press conference today? Well, how would you characterize it? It was, I don't know, on par with the rest of them or a little bit more edgy?
Definitely edgier than last year. I felt like last year was much more laid back. I felt like this one, he definitely was making a point. I think he was making a point to the star of his team. Like, hey, we need you to play more because that wasn't good enough.
And the question is how Jimmy absorbs that. We talked about it at the beginning of the show. How will Jimmy absorb that? Will he go scorched earth because, hey, no one tells me to shut my mouth and I give you everything I've got. If I'm injured, I'm injured. Or does he say, you know what? I respect Pat Riley and everything he's done, and I want a ring, and I want to be the next Dwayne Wade here, and challenge accepted. I just wonder, do you have any idea, Tobin, how you think Jimmy's going to perceive all this?
I think if it was just on straight criticism, I don't think it would be an issue. I think that this is probably things that Pat Riley's told Jimmy Butler, told his agent. I think it's things they know. I think the interesting thing, Hawk, is the money. Like, anytime there's really been a Jimmy Butler issue, it's been, well, I didn't get the money that I wanted. And especially, like, Bam's also eligible for an extension this summer. You never say a bad word about Bam Adebayo. So if Bam gets, $100+ million in guarantee money this summer, and Jimmy Butler, they're waffling on giving him that last year of 60. Yeah, I think that could be something that's going to lead to, a little bit of a problem with Jimmy. I'm not positive that it will, because maybe he's not the same guy that he was 5 years ago in Minnesota or in Philly, where he's, upset because Ben Simmons is getting money, Karl Anthony Towns getting money, and I'm not getting my money. But, that's when you add money into the whole thing. I don't think it's just the words. I think it's the actions of it. The Heat don't give him that extra commitment. That could cause an issue more than anything.
Interesting. Brendan Tobin, listen to him every day, middays with Leroy Horde here on 560 WQAM. Thank you, Tobes.
All right, see you, boys.